What is going on, everyone? My name is the California Cougar. It's been a little while since I last uploaded, about a week. But here today, I'm going to be talking a little bit of baseball with you guys. Yes, the All-Star game just happened yesterday. The AL took down the NL 4-3. And yeah, we're about to start the second half here. I believe the second half officially starts on Friday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened in the season so far. Basically go over each of the 30 teams and like what they should do or what they're doing. Like, should they be buyers at the deadline? Should they be sellers at the trade deadline? Like, just what should they do? Could they possibly be contenders, make the playoffs? And then, of course, I'm going to do what I did in my previous MLB predictions video. Basically, predict the playoffs and predict awards like the Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, things like that. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. First off, we're going to start off with the AL East, and no surprise here, the Orioles, they have the worst record in baseball, 27-62 record in the first half. I think we all know what they're going to do. They're going to be sellers at the deadline, although they don't really have a lot of people to sell. No one wants Chris Davis, we all know that, because he sucks, and he's got one of the worst contracts in Major League Baseball history. So, yeah, no one's going to want to deal with that. And they already traded Manny Machado last year, so we don't know. And plus, they don't have Adam Jones anymore. So, yeah, we really don't know. Are they going to do something with, like, Trey Mancini, maybe? Try and trade him to a contender because he's actually having a good year? We don't know. But all we do know, the Orioles, they have the worst record in the league. They're not going to be contenders anytime soon. So, yeah, that's it for them. Up next, the Toronto Blue Jays, 34-57 record. They actually started off the season pretty strong. But since like the end of April or something like that, they've just been on a rapid decline. They're going to be sellers at the deadline as well. Like, we already know that Marcus Stroman's on the block. I think Justin Smoak might go on the block because they're actually having pretty decent years. And there are some teams that could want them. Like, for example, starting pitchers. I know the Yankees could definitely use a starting pitcher or two to help them. So, yeah, Toronto, they're going to be sellers at the deadline. We all know that. They have one of the worst records in the league, so yeah. Up next, we have the Boston Red Sox, 49-41. I don't think anyone expected them to be, like, in the middle ground, in third place in the AL East. Like, I don't think anybody expected that, because they had, like, what, a 108-54 record last year? So, yeah, obviously they're not going to repeat that this year. But 49-41 is still a pretty good record. I think they're 2 games back behind the second wild card spot right now, somewhere around there. So I think they're definitely going to try to be contenders. They just need to start stepping up a lot more because their bullpen still kind of sucks. Their pitching hasn't been as great this year. Like, I know Chris Sale started off really badly this year. David Price, I know, has been decent. I think Nathan Eovaldi, I think, has been hurt for a while or something. I don't know. Their pitching was not good at the beginning of the year. They just started off the year really badly. But I do think they're good enough to be contenders. I don't think they're going to be sellers. I think they're going to be buyers at the deadline. So yeah, we'll see where they end up. Up next, we have the Tampa Bay Rays with a 52-39 record, currently second in the AL East. They actually start off the year really strong, and they're still doing really well, especially their pitchers. Wow, like, even though Blake Snell's not having the best year, Charlie Morton has really stepped it up. I think Charlie Morton could possibly be a Cy Young contender at the end of the year. And, like, some of their other guys as well, like Tyler Glasnow, I know he's hurt, but he started off really well. And I know I think the Rays are still using their little bullpenning strategy with an opener and all that. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see where the Rays go. They're definitely one of the more surprising teams of the year. They're definitely going to be buyers at the deadline, I'm sure. I know Austin Meadows has had a good year. Brandon Lowe, I think, could be a contender for Rookie of the Year in the AL. But, yeah, we'll see where they end up. Right now, I think they're first in the wild card. I think they're first place in the wild card, just ahead of the Indians. So, yeah. And in first place, we have the New York Yankees, 57-31 record, which is really good considering their circumstance much more toward the beginning of the year. And even still now, they've dealt with a ton of injuries, like a ton of injuries. Giancarlo was injured. Aaron Judge was injured. Giancarlo is actually still on the DL. But yeah, Aaron Hicks was injured. Luis Severino is still on the DL, or the IL, I should say. It's not called the DL anymore, it's the IL. But yeah, Luis Severino, their best pitcher, is on the IL. So Yeah, we haven't seen anything from Severino this year. I know, like, Dylan Betances, I think, was their other guy that was hurt, their reliever. But, yeah. But you have people like Domingo Germán stepping up. But the Yankees definitely need another pitcher, like J. Happ, James Paxton. They're not having the best years. CC Sabathia is having an all right year, but yeah, they definitely could use a pitcher at the deadline. They're definitely going to be buyers, for sure. So look for the Yankees to be huge buyers and huge contenders come playoff time. All right, up next we have the AL Central, and in last place, Kansas City Royals, 30-61. I think, yeah, they're definitely going to be sellers at the deadline. The question is, who are they going to sell? Salvador Perez is out for the year, so no one's going to want him. But maybe someone like Whit Merrifield or Hunter Dozier. I know they've had pretty good years. Hunter Dozier, I think, finished second in the All-Star voting, and Whit Merrifield was on the All-Star team. So, yeah, who knows what we're going to see from them. But they're definitely going to be sellers at the deadline. They're in a rebuilding phase. So, yeah. Up next, in fourth place, we have the Detroit Tigers with a 28-57 record. Again, they're going to be sellers at the deadline. I know they've been trying to trade people like Nicholas Castellanos, so I'm sure he's going to be up on the block again at some point. He's having a pretty decent year, so yeah, look for them to be sellers for sure. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. Up next, we have the Chicago White Sox with a 42-44 record. So more of a mediocre record, but still, since the AL is so competitive, especially up toward the top, I don't think they're going to be contenders this year. Like, the NL gets more interesting in terms of, like, middling records, but yeah, I don't think the White Sox have enough. Eloy Jimenez has been kind of a disappointment so far. Lucas Giolito, is that his name? Yeah, Giolito, their pitcher, has been doing really well. I think he could be a Cy Young contender. But yeah, we'll see what they do. I do think they're going to be sellers, but they already have a pretty deep farm system, so yeah, I don't think the White Sox fans should worry for too much longer. I think the White Sox are going to be good eventually. So yeah, just not this year. And up next, we have the Cleveland Indians, who actually started off really slowly this year, having a 500 record for a while. But they're 50-38 now. They have the second wild card spot behind the Rays and just ahead of the A's and Red Sox. So yeah, like, a lot of people said they were going to be sellers at the deadline, but I'm kind of glad they're not going to be sellers because there were rumors that Brad Hand was going to be traded to the Dodgers, which, yeah, I would not have wanted to see that, considering I'm a Giants fan. So, yeah, I'm kind of glad they're doing good now because, I mean, it means they'll probably keep Brad Hand. And, of course, like, even though Jose Ramirez has been a huge disappointment for them, he's just not been hitting well at all. Francisco Lindor has been having a really good year, despite being hurt for the first month or whatever it was. I mean, they've had problems with some of their pitchers, like Corey Kluber. I know he's been hurt. Carlos Carrasco is dealing with leukemia right now. But yeah, people like Shane Bieber have stepped up. And, of course, Trevor Bauer started off the year really strong. So, yeah, we'll see where the Indians go. But I think they have a really good shot of being a contender again this year. And then in first place, probably the biggest surprise in the AL, or definitely one of them, the Minnesota Twins with a 56-33 record, 5.5 games ahead of the Indians. Who would have thought? Like, their pitching's been really good. Like, Jose Barrios, is that his name? Who was in the All-Star game yesterday? He had that filthy slider. He's been doing really well. Like, I know they're going to be looking for another pitcher or maybe another bullpen pitcher at the deadline. Like, I know they've been talking about getting Will Smith from the Giants, Madison Bumgarner as well, but yeah, they're definitely going to be contenders this year. I think they have a really good shot of going far in the playoffs, surprising everybody, because a lot of people didn't expect them, including myself, a lot of people didn't expect them to be on top of the division. But right now, it looks like they might finish on top of the division if they can keep it up. They've been hitting for a lot of power. I know Eddie Rosario's been doing really well. Max Kepler's been hitting really well. Like, the Twins have just been mashing homers left and right. So we'll see if they can keep up this momentum. But yeah, I've got good faith in the Twins. Up next, we have the AL West. And in last place, we have the Seattle Mariners with a 39-55 record. Yeah, so much for that 13-2 start, huh? Yeah, but I think this is about what everyone expected after they dumped everybody last offseason, trading people like Edwin Diaz and Robinson Cano, all these other guys. But yeah, they're definitely going to be sellers. They're going to be looking to trade more people. They already traded Edwin Encarnacion over to the Yankees. So yeah, definitely look for Seattle to be some sellers at the deadline. Yeah, James Paxton, they traded him to the Yankees last offseason. Yeah, not in a good spot. Up next, we have the LA Angels with a 45-46 record. They're a little bit of ways out of the wild card spot, but I mean, not a terrible record. Tommy La Stella's been having a really good year. Of course, Mike Trout probably the front runner to win the MVP again, like he always is, because he's the best player in the game right now. Albert Pujols has been having a pretty strong year, so yeah, I don't think the Angels are going to be contenders this year just because those top spots are so tight and so competitive. They just got a lot of competition in front of them, but yeah, you can expect them to trade a few players, I think. Like, I know Jonathan Lucroy, he just got hurt, but yeah. And rest in peace, Tyler Skaggs, by the way. Yeah, he was one of their pitchers, and unfortunately he passed away at the age of 27, so rest in peace to him. But yeah, anyway, I don't really think the Angels are going to be in contention this year, so yeah. Up next, you have another very surprising team of the AL, the Texas Rangers. I think everyone thought they would finish in 4th or 5th place, but they have a 48-42 record right now. Currently 3.5 games ahead of the Angels for 3rd place. And I think they're like a game and a half out of the wild card or something like that. They're not, or maybe 2.5 games. I don't know. They're not that far out of the wild card spot, though. They actually might be legitimate contenders this year. And Hunter Pence, who would have thought? Hunter Pence went from hitting, I think he hit 4 home runs with the Giants last year or something like that. His average was down in like the low 220s. Yeah, he's hitting much closer to like 290 with like 14 or 15 homers. His OPS is up in the 900s. He's been having a great year. So talk about comeback player of the year. I think Hunter Pence has definitely got to be in consideration for that. So yeah, Hunter Pence, Ringnet Odor, he's not really having the best year. But some of their other hitters are doing well. Their pitching's doing pretty well. Mike Minor, I know, has had a really good year. So yeah, a lot of people I think thought they were gonna be sellers at the deadline, but it looks like they might actually be buyers. Like, who would have thought the Texas Rangers going from last place last year to now in 3rd with a 48-42 record and a possible wild card spot? Who would have thought? The question is, can they keep that up? That I don't really know. So we'll have to keep an eye on them. Up next, we have the Oakland A's with a 50-41 record, currently in the 1st wildcard spot, just a half game ahead of the Red Sox. But yeah, the A's, they're kind of that sneaky team that always seems to do well despite not really having any big names besides like Matt Chapman, Chris Davis. Chris Davis like started off the year pretty strong, but he's since slowed down in terms of home runs. Like, Chris Davis is the type of guy, he's going to hit 247, he's going to mash home runs left and right. He's going to be your DH, but not that much of a great position player. Matt Chapman, one of the best defensive third basemen in the game. He's also hitting really well. He was in the All-Star game. He was in the Home Run Derby as well. So, yeah, I think the A's, they'll end up with a wild card spot. We'll just have to see where they end up. Like, it's so competitive. And then last but not least, we have the Houston Astros with a 57-33 record. Currently battling with the Yankees for the top spot in the AL. I don't think anyone's surprised by that. Everyone's having a pretty good year. Altuve, I know, has been hurt for a while, but he's coming back. George Springer was hurt for a while, but he started off the year really well. He still has an OPS over 1,000, I think. So, yeah, Springer's having a good year. Alex Bregman's starting to hit for a lot more power. And Carlos Correa, he's doing really well. Josh Reddick. The Astros are just one of the most fun teams to watch. They're so fun to watch because they hit home runs left and right. They have great pitchers as well. Justin Verlander, once again in Cy Young contention. I swear, the dude just doesn't age. He still pitches really well. Garrett Cole's pitching really well. Like, other than those two, they don't really have the best pitching staff, but their pitchers are still doing really well. Their bullpen's great, too. So, yeah, definitely expect the Astros to be buyers at the deadline. Michael Brantley, he's another guy I forgot to mention. He's having a great year as well. But, yeah, definitely expect the Astros to be on top of the AL or close to it, battling with the Yankees for the top spot, and they're definitely going to be buyers at the deadline. So that's it for the AL. Right now, it seems like the Indians, A's, Rangers, Red Sox, and Rays are all battling for 2 wildcard spots. I don't really see the Twins, Astros, or Yankees giving up their lead. They all have pretty big leads right now on their divisions. So, yeah, that's it for the AL. Let's go to the NL. So, starting off with the NL East. In last place, to no one's surprise, the Miami Marlins, 33-55 record. although they have held a 500 record since, I think, like mid-May or something like that. So they've been doing okay since then, but yeah, they started off the year with the worst record in baseball for a while. I don't think anyone expects them to go anywhere. They traded all their big guys a few years ago. Yelich, Stanton, Marcell Ozuna, Derek Dietrich, I think, was among them. D. Gordon, Justin Bour, and a few pitchers as well, like Luis Castillo of the Reds. Like, he's having a good year this year. Yeah, imagine if the Marlins didn't trade all these guys away, where they'd be. But yeah, they suck. They're terrible. They're going to be sellers again. It's just the way it is for them. Nothing seems to be going well for them. Gotta feel bad for Marlins fans. Up next, the New York Mets with a 40-50 record, currently in 4th place. I don't think anyone's really that surprised, but although I'm kind of surprised that their record's that bad. I thought they'd be much more competitive this year, especially since they traded for people like Robbie Cano and Edwin Diaz. And they went out and signed guys like Jed Lowry, although I don't think we've seen Jed Lowry play at all this year. But, yeah, like big polar bear Pete Alonso's having a great year. Michael Conforto, he started off strong but has kind of declined. I'm trying to think. Jeff McNeil, he's got the best batting average in the league. And, like, their pitchers, too. Like, Jake DeGrom's having a pretty good year. Noah Syndergaard and Zach Wheeler have kind of fallen off a bit. Jason Vargas is having a good year, surprisingly. But, yeah, you would think with the team on paper, they would have a much better record. Even their bullpen, like, they signed Jeurys Familia and they traded for Edwin Diaz. So you would think they would have a much better record. The problem is their bullpen sucks, and their manager's terrible. Mickey Callaway has not done a good job managing the team. Their bullpen continues to blow games left and right. Like, Edwin Diaz has been disappointing. Familia has been bad. And, like, even Noah Syndergaard has not pitched very well this year at all. So, yeah, I have a feeling they're going to be sellers at the deadline. They'll probably try and trade away people. Like, I know Noah Syndergaard's on the trade block. Zach Wheeler's on the trade block. We'll see where they go. But, yeah, I don't think they're going to trade Pete Alonso or Jeff McNeil. I think they're doing too good for them. But, yeah, Mets have been pretty disappointing this year, to say the least. Up next, in 3rd place, we have the Philadelphia Phillies with a 47-43 record. Not great, not bad. Just kind of in the middle. I think they have the 2nd wild card spot right now. Actually, believe it or not, they're close. I mean, that 2nd wild card spot is really tight in the NL. Actually, the wild card in general is really tight. But yeah, I do think the Phillies are doing well. Bryce Harper has not been all that great this year. Definitely not living up to that $330 million contract he got. But I mean, Real Muto's been okay. Yeah, JT Realmuto, he's been okay. McCutchen, I think they lost him for the year, unfortunately. Odubel Herrera has been suspended indefinitely because of domestic violence or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, like Cesar Hernandez has been doing well. Maikel Franco has been doing okay. And like their pitching's been their biggest problem. And some of their offense as well. Like, their pitch, like Aaron Nola, he started off the year pretty poorly, but I mean, he's gotten better still. But still, for a 3rd place Cy Young contender, you would think he would do better than he did. Jake Arrieta, I know, hasn't pitched really well, and like Nick Pivetta, I don't think he's pitched well. But I mean, the Phillies are still 47-43, so who knows what they're going to do? Are they going to keep falling like they did last year? Are they going to rise up? It'll be interesting to see where they end up. So yeah. Up next, we have the Washington Nationals with a 47-42 record. They started off the year really poorly, but since like the beginning of June, I think, they've had the best record in the National League. They've gone like 26-10 since then, or something like that. They've been doing really well lately. And like their pitchers, like Max Scherzer has stepped it up. He started off the year pretty poorly, but he stepped it up. He pitched 7 innings, 10 strikeouts with a broken nose. Like, how is that not like? So, I don't know. Like, Max Scherzer's done really well. Steven Strasburg is starting to pitch better. Patrick Corbin's pitching well. Yeah, they've got one of the better pitching staffs. I think they're like the first pitching staff with like 3 people where 3 of their pitchers have 124 or 125 strikeouts before the All-Star break or something like that. It's pretty insane. But yeah, Nationals, I definitely think they're going to be buyers along with the Phillies at the deadline. I think we can expect to see some trades made to them. So yeah. They've made a comeback. Hopefully they can continue the momentum, maybe even make a push for the division lead, which right now is held by the Braves with a 54-37 record. I don't think anyone's too surprised. Nick Markakis has been doing okay for them. Ronald Acuna has been hitting really well for them. He was a starting all-star, so yeah, Acuna's done well. Freddie Freeman has had a really good year. Even some of their younger pitchers like Max Fried. Mike Soroka is a Cy Young contender right now. Although Mike Fultonavich, I know, has been sent down to the minors, so yeah, who knows. But, I mean, they got a good record. They got a really good offense going for them. It'll be interesting to see where the Braves end up. Expect them to make some trades. They just went out and signed Dallas Keuchel. So, yeah, the Braves, I think they're in a good spot. Up next, we have the NL Central. Now, this division's actually pretty tight. 4.5 games separate first place from last place. So, it's really anybody's game. We'll start with the last place team, which is the Cincinnati Reds. 41-46 record. Not great, but definitely not out of it, believe it or not. Even with a record that low, like, you'd think they'd be out of the wild card race, but they're actually I think they're 3 or 4 games back out of the wild card or something like that. They're close. So, yeah, I know Luis Castillo's pitched really well. Some of their other players, like Yasiel Puig, is starting to heat up. I know that. Joey Votto hasn't been great, but, yeah, Derek Dietrich's hit a lot of home runs. Eugenio Suarez has been hitting well, but, yeah, it'll be interesting to see where the Reds end up for sure. The question is, will they be buyers or sellers? I don't really know. I think they're too close to the wild card race to be sellers. But I don't really see them buying. I don't know. They're kind of in that gray area. I think if I were them, 41-46 record's kind of hard to come back from. I think they should be sellers, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were buyers either. Up next, we have the Pittsburgh Pirates, 44-45 record. So, yeah, 2.5 games out of the division lead, 2 games out of the wild card. So, yeah, again, it'll be interesting to see where they end up because they're really close too. Or it's actually, I think they're 2.5 games out of the wild card. My bad. But yeah, Pittsburgh's right there in it too. And I know some of their hitters, their pitchers, their hitters, they haven't been great. But they haven't really been horrible, except for Chris Archer. Chris Archer's been horrible. But yeah, other than that, they've had an okay year. So again, it'll be interesting to see if they're buyers or sellers. Again, I think they're too close to the wild card race to really be sellers. So yeah, and then up next we have St. Louis Cardinals sitting at 500 with a 44-44 record. Paul Goldschmidt hasn't really been doing all that well for them. Marcell Ozuna's been kind of in the middle. He's been hitting home runs, but really that's it. Their pitchers, meh. Miles Mikolas, I know, just got lit up by the Giants. So, yeah, bit of a disappointment to see them with just a 500 record considering their team on paper, but we'll see if they can start to pick it up in the second half. 44-44 record. Again, I think they're close enough to the wild card to hold on to most of their players. But yeah, again, it'll be interesting. Up next, we have the Milwaukee Brewers, 47-44 record, just a half game behind the Cubs, half game out of the second wild card spot. Yeah, it's close between them. Of course, you have Christian Yelich, who is once again an MVP contender. He's got an over 1,100 OPS. It's sick. The dude's just mashing baseballs left and right. He's got 31 homers, which leads the league, a 3.29 average. The guy's just going off. If the Brewers didn't have Yelich right now, they just wouldn't be in contention, I don't think. But yeah, other than that, Mike Moustakas has been doing well. The problem is their pitching. Their pitchers suck. They just suck. Really, other than Zach Davies and Brandon Woodruff, their pitching has just not been good. Chacin's had a bad year. I don't even know who is starting in their other spots. But yeah, Josh Hader, he's still a shutdown closer. But other than that, yeah, it's been kind of rough for the Brewers pitching. And even their offense hasn't been doing as well. I know Jesus Aguilar's been really bad. Travis Shaw's been really bad. But yeah, I don't know where they're going to go from here. It'll be interesting to see. I think they're going to be buyers at the deadline for sure because they definitely need some pitching. And they could use another big hitter. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can hold on to that second wildcard spot or even take the division from the Cubs, who are in first place with a 47-43 record. Now, the Cubs, they just went out and signed Craig Kimbrell. Definitely an improvement to their bullpen. But, yeah, their offense has been doing well, too. Chris Bryant, he's had a pretty good year. Anthony Rizzo's been having a pretty good year. Really, Jason Hayward and Addison Russell and all those other guys haven't been doing well. Addison Russell, again, I think he's another domestic violence abuser guy. So, yeah, he's kind of on the indefinite suspension list. But, yeah, like other than that, they've been doing really well. Wilson Contreras, he was just in the All-Star game, starting at catcher for them. So, yeah, I definitely think the Cubs are in a pretty good spot. But it'll be close. Like, they're only 2 games ahead of the Cardinals, and they're a half game ahead of the Brewers. So that's a tight division. They're only 4.5 games ahead of the last place Reds. So yeah, tight division. Up next, the NL West. And in last place in the NL West, much to my disappointment, is the San Francisco Giants with a 41-48 record. Now, they're kind of in an interesting spot as well, because they're actually only 5.5 games out of the wild card race. Now, of course, it's going to be hard for them to come back, but they've been getting some momentum lately. They're 20-15 since the beginning of June, and in July, like they've won 6 out of their last 7 games, I think. And in that 7-game stretch, I think they scored like 54 runs or something like that. So they've been hitting well lately, and they've been pitching pretty well too. Like I know Samar just had a couple good starts, Bumgarner has had a couple good starts, even Tyler Beede has stepped it up a little bit. And let's see, I always forget who their other pitchers are because Derek Holland and Derek Rodriguez have both been sent down to the bullpen. I know Rodriguez has actually gone to the minors a couple times. He's had a horrible year. So I don't really know what's going on with him, but their bullpen's been strong. Like Dyson, Watson, they've been pitching well. Reyes Maranta's been doing well. Will Smith has yet to blow a save this year. He has 23 saves, and he has yet to blow a save this year. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the Giants do. I think they should be sellers, personally, from a Giants fan, because I just don't think they're going to be able to keep up the momentum. Like, I know Longoria has been getting hot, but yeah, I think they should be sellers. Like, I know Will Smith is on the trade market. Madison Bumgarner's been on the trade market. So yeah, it pains me to say this, but I don't think they're going to be able to keep up the momentum. So I think they probably should be sellers, but I mean, if they can keep up the momentum, maybe get back to 500 by the end of July, I think maybe they have a chance, but I just don't really see it happening realistically. I think they're just going to start falling back down again. So, yeah, as much as it pains me to say it, I just don't think the Giants are going to be able to keep up. But yeah, and by the way, Sean Anderson's actually been pitching really well lately. Drew Pomeranz is their biggest problem when it comes to pitching. He's either really good and doesn't get any run support, or he just flat out sucks. So yeah, he's definitely been a problem. But anyway, moving on. Up next, in 4th place, we have the Colorado Rockies with a 44-45 record. I know they just lost a few in a row to the Diamondbacks. That's part of it, because they're actually only a game behind the Diamondbacks, who are in second. We'll get to them in a little bit. But yeah, like the Rockies, offensively they've been doing really well. Nolan Arenado, David Dahl, Charlie Blackmon, they all have records well over 300. They're all All-Stars, and they're all mashing homers left and right. I think they're all putting up, or Arenado and Blackmon at least are putting up MVP numbers. So yeah, if they can keep it up, I think they're going to be in a good spot. But the problem is their pitching. Kyle Freeland has been sent down to the minors. Herman Marquez isn't even pitching that well. Senzatella has been having trouble. Gray's been doing okay, not great. Anderson, I don't even know what happened to him. So yeah, if they can get a pitcher or two, I think they might be in a good spot. It's going to be tough for them though, because of the whole Coors Field thing. But yeah, their offense has been doing really well. Even Ian Desmond's been hitting better. Daniel Murphy's been hitting well. Trevor Story's been hitting well. So yeah, their offense is good. They just need to get some pitching, and I think they'll definitely be contenders. In 3rd place, we have the 45-45 Padres, the San Diego Padres. Yeah, they're definitely doing much better than a lot of people expected, I think. Manny Machado, I know, has definitely really helped out a lot. Eric Hosmer has been hitting pretty well. Ian Kinsler, I don't think anybody really likes Ian Kinsler that much. But yeah, again, their problem is their pitching. Their pitching can't seem to throw a strike really well. Like, Lucchesi hasn't been that great. Eric Lauer hasn't been great. Chris Paddock's been doing okay. Like, I know early on he was a contender for Rookie of the Year, but he's kind of backed off a little bit, come back down to earth. But yeah, I think the Padres are kind of in that gray area along with the Rockies, but I do think they could be buyers, they could be sellers. We don't really know. But yeah, like I know Fernando Tatis Jr. has been doing really well. He's a contender for Rookie of the Year. But yeah, Padres, we don't really know where they're going to be. Up next, we have the Diamondbacks, 46-45 record. Again, kind of in that gray area. Like, do we sell? Do we buy? Do we trade all our players away, or do we try and get some better players? kind of in that gray area. I know Zach Greinke's been pitching really well. He's on the trade market if they decide to become sellers. I think David Peralta's been hitting pretty decently. Adam Jones has been hitting pretty well. So, yeah, the D-backs, they've been doing okay. Like, I know some of their, like Wilmer Flores, he hasn't been doing all that great for them. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they end up. They're kind of in that gray area. And then, of course, my most hated team, the LA Dodgers, with the best record in baseball right now, 60-32. Ugh. Haven't we seen enough of the freaking Dodgers already? I mean, at least they did just lose 3 games in LA to the Padres, so anything can happen. But yeah, Cody Bellinger's been mashing baseballs left and right. He's another MVP candidate up there with Christian Yelich. 1,100 plus OPS, 30 homers, 336 average. His average has kind of dropped from like 400 in May or something ridiculous like that. It's dropped down, so he's starting to come back to earth. But he's still hitting really well. Max Muncy's been hitting well. Jock Peterson, he hits home runs, but doesn't really have the best average. A.J. Pollock's been hurt because that's what A.J. Pollock does. Yunjin Ryu's pitching well. Kershaw's pitching pretty well. Buehler's doing okay. But yeah, I think the Dodgers will be buyers for sure. Their bullpen is their weakest spot. Like, Kenley Jansen's been doing okay, but his ERA is in the 3s, which isn't really ideal for a closer. Their other bullpen pitchers haven't been doing well. Joe Kelly hasn't really been living up to his contract. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the Dodgers do. But, I mean, they got a 13.5 game lead for the division. I don't really think they have to worry about losing their division title this year. But, yeah, it's the Dodgers. What do you expect? They always do well for some reason. Corey Seager's been doing well, but then he got hurt. So, it'll be interesting to see how he comes back from that. But yeah, so that's all 30 teams. Up next, we're going to go through some playoff predictions and, of course, the awards predictions. So starting off with the playoffs, I think it's going to end up being in the AL. We're going to have the Yankees on top with the Astros in second. Twins, I think, will end up in third. And then this might be a little bit of a weird prediction, but I think the Rays are going to take the first wildcard spot, and I think the Indians will take the second one. So, yeah, I think it's going to end up where it is right now. I know the Red Sox and A's are in it, but I do think the Rays and the Indians will end up taking it. So, yeah, and I think at the end of that, it could, like, either team could win. I do think the Rays will end up winning that game. I still think the Yankees are going to go on to the World Series over everybody. The Astros, I think, will end up in the NLCS, or the ALCS, excuse me. But I do think the Yankees still go to the World Series. In the NL, like, obviously the Dodgers are going to win their division. I think, like, the NL Central is a little bit harder to predict. I do think the Cubs will end up taking it, though. Like, I don't think they're going to give up their momentum. And I do think the Braves are going to end up taking it in the AL East. As for the wild card spots, this becomes difficult to predict because I don't really know. If I had to guess, I would probably say the Phillies maybe and the Brewers. I'm going to guess Phillies and Brewers in the wild card spot. I think the Brewers win the wild card game. They go up against the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers win that. I think the Dodgers will be fine at least until the NLCS, where they end up meeting the Braves. Yeah, I think they're going to meet the Braves in the NLCS. That, I think, is a toss-up. I do think the Dodgers go to the World Series again this year, but I'm still predicting Yankees win the World Series. So, yeah, Yankees-Dodgers in the World Series. Yankees win in 6 games. That's my prediction. I still think it's the Yankees' year. Like, as soon as Giancarlo comes back, he's going to be mashing home runs left and right. Like, if you look at their lineup, it's scary when they're fully healthy. Like, you got people like Aaron Hicks. You got Edwin Encarnacion playing DH. Giancarlo, Aaron Judge, DJ LeMahieu's been hitting really well. Gleyber Torres. Gio Urshela's been doing well. Luke Voigt's been hitting really well. Gary Sanchez is smashing home runs. Like, that is one of the best power hitting lineups I think I've ever seen. You know they're just going to mash home runs left and right. If they can get a couple of good pitchers, they're going to be set. So, yeah, Yankees, I think they win the World Series this year. It just seems like their year. They won it 10 years ago. CC Sabathia is retiring this year. I think it's only right that he goes out with a bang. The Yankees win the World Series. So, up next, we have awards predictions. Starting off with Rookie of the Year. At the beginning of the year for the AL, I predicted Vlad Guerrero Jr. would win Rookie of the Year. It's a little bit harder to predict in the AL because they don't really have a lot of great rookies like the NL does. But I do think Vlad Guerrero Jr. will be one of the 3 finalists, even though his stats really don't show Rookie of the Year numbers. But I think Brandon Lowe is going to end up taking Rookie of the Year, actually, much to a lot of people's surprise. I think Brandon Lowe just seems like the person that's going to take it. I don't know why, but something's telling me Brandon Lowe is going to get it this year. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. But, I mean, Eloy Jimenez, he's been kind of disappointing. Guerrero's been pretty disappointing so far. But, yeah, Brandon Lowe, I think, has done well enough to where he's going to be a contender for Rookie of the Year for sure. So, that's my prediction, Brandon Lowe. For the NL, this one's a little bit more up in the air. I think the front runner right now is Pete Alonso, but I think Fernando Tatis Jr. is right in it. Mike Soroka, I don't really know if he would be considered a rookie. If he is, but he would definitely be in it. Austin Riley, another player from the Braves, I think is definitely going to be considered. Chris Paddock, I was originally saying Chris Paddock, but I don't really know about him anymore. But, yeah, I think if I had to predict, I think Polar Bear Pete Alonso is going to take it. I think it'll be close between him and Fernando Tatis Jr. I predicted Fernando Tatis Jr. at the beginning of the year, but yeah, I do think big Polar Bear Pete is going to end up taking it. The guy just won the home run derby. He was in the All-Star game. He hit that 2-run single that almost tied the game. Not quite in the All-Star game, but yeah, he's done really well this year. He's got 30 home runs. His average isn't great, but his OPS, I think, is right at 1,000 or really close to it. So, yeah, he's definitely putting up Rookie of the Year type numbers. Fernando Tatis, he hasn't hit as much home runs, but he's hitting for good average. So, we'll see. But I think it's going to be Polar Bear Pete. Cy Young. Oh, boy. My predictions at the beginning of the year. Oh, my God. So, first off, for the AL, I predicted Chris Sale. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like that's going to happen. He's been getting better lately, but his beginning of the year was just so bad. Right now, I think it's going to be Charlie Morton, actually, for the Tampa Bay Rays. He's been pitching really well. His ERA is in the low 2s. I think Justin Verlander is definitely going to be a contender. I think Garrett Cole will be a contender. But I think it's going to be Charlie Morton. I really do. Another Rays player taking it home for the second time in a row. So, yeah, Charlie Morton. He's my prediction. For the NL, my prediction at the beginning of the year is so laughable. I think I predicted Kyle Freeland. Yeah, that's not happening. Right now, it seems like it could be Max Scherzer. Like, Max Scherzer's definitely been pitching a lot better. He's got an ERA under 1 in his last however many starts. His ERA is down to 2.3. So, yeah, Max Scherzer definitely a contender. I'm going to predict Max Scherzer, actually. I don't think Yinjin Ryu is going to keep his momentum up. Like, I know he's got a 1.73 ERA or something like that. He's been pitching really well, but I think he'll be in the top 3. I don't think he'll win it. I think Max Scherzer's going to end up taking it. So it's a bold prediction, but I think it's going to be Max Scherzer. And last but not least, we have the MVP award. Starting off with the AL. I forgot who I even predicted for the AL. I think I predicted Aaron Judge. But yeah, doesn't seem like that's going to happen anymore simply because Judge has been hurt forever. So yeah, I don't really think that's going to happen anymore. I think now it's going to be Mike Trout. I really think it's going to be Mike Trout. He has the most home runs in the AL by far. He's got a great average, he by far has the best stats of any hitter in the AL right now. So, yeah, Mike Trout, he's definitely going to win the MVP for the AL. For the AL. For the NL, I think it's down to 2 people right now, Christian Yelich and Cody Bellinger, and I think it's a tight race. But I think, as much as it pains me to say this, I think it's going to be Cody Bellinger. Because MLB loves them. If you look at their Twitter, they post, like, every time Bellinger hits a home run, they put 2 tweets up. They put at least 2 tweets about it up on their Twitter. It's amazing, like, how in love with the Dodgers and with Cody Bellinger MLB Twitter is. It's amazing. So I think for that reason alone, I think Cody Bellinger is going to end up taking it. I do think Yelich will be in the top 3. I think I predicted Nolan Arenado, and I think he'll still be a contender. Like, he's putting up really good numbers, but I don't think he's going to win it. I think he's just too overshadowed by Yelich and Bellinger to stand a chance. Unless unless they, like, both Yelich and Bellinger just, like, drop off suddenly, I don't think either of them are going to give it up. All right, so there's my predictions for the rest of the MLB season and my thought on the MLB season so far. what do you guys think about the MLB season so far? Which teams do you think should be buyers? Which teams do you think should be sellers at the trade deadline? Which teams do you think are going to win the playoffs, win the World Series, and all that good stuff? And which players do you think are going to win all the awards? Make sure to let me know down in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more content to come in the future. And until next time, once again, my name is the California Cougar. And always remember, stay California cool. Peace.